So it was always about moving forward and finding that next open door and opportunity. 4 months after the accident, I got in a sled on the ice with some friends and family, and just had a blast. I'm like, okay, my new goal now is to try to make the Paralympics. So by getting myself out on the ice, by training, by doing all the things, I actually made my way to the national program within 4 years.
Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Airdrie Inside. I am your host, Chris Glass, and my guest today, I'm very excited to have Ryan Straschnitzki here. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, I was a little nervous, even though I've heard your name plenty of times, that I was going to screw up saying it. Did I nail it?
Yeah, you're pretty close, yeah.
Perfect. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now, you're one of the most famous Airdronians, I think, that we have right now. Tell me about your time in Airdrie.
Yeah, so I moved here when I was about 12, 13 years old, and it was like in the summertime. I didn't know what to expect. This is my first time moving from Calgary.
Right.
I just knew that I was going to try out for the top hockey team, hopefully make it, create some friends, and go to school here. So, my first couple months here were new and foreign. I lived over by Windsong, and
Right.
It was like nothing out there. There was no houses. It was just ours being built. And so, I just had all this room to go biking and get lost.
Yeah, I'm out there right now in Prairie Springs, so right close to there, and it's amazing to see how big Airdrie is getting in that direction.
Yeah.
I just moved from Bayside, and even Bayside's starting to expand out. So, it's crazy. Okay, so you moved here to Airdrie, played hockey here in Airdrie. Which team did you play for?
I played for the PBAA Lightning, and then played for the Extreme, the Bantam AAA team, and then AC Avalanche, and then I actually went to Leduc for my midget AAA season.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I spent some time in Leduc. I used to work at the airport up there, as I like to call it, the Leduc International Airport, because it's nowhere near Edmonton.
No.
You got a good 20 minutes before you get anywhere. Okay. And then that brought you to the WHL.
I had a stint. I tried out for the Royals when I was 14 just to get that experience. And then when I was 17, I had the option to go play in Medicine Hat or play the junior A route to get a scholarship for NCAA. So I decided to sign my letter of intent with the Whitecourt Wolverines, the AJHL. And then within 3 games, I got traded to the SJ to Humboldt. So it was a big turnaround, but I was excited to play junior hockey.
Oh, that's fantastic. And tell me a little bit about your time in Humboldt. I don't want to focus on the accident or anything that happened, but what was it like playing at that level?
Oh man, it was different. I mean, each junior A league in each province is different. Alberta, I would argue, was more skilled, but the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League was a lot more physical. So my first couple games there, I was almost got into a couple fights and was getting tossed around out there. But I eventually got used to it and more experienced, got some playing time, and it was good. I mean, Humboldt was a great town. They don't have a whole lot going on, but they love the Broncos there, and they support the hockey players. So going there, you're at the rink every day, you're with the guys every day. It's just such a good environment.
Yeah, sometimes you can be in a big city playing the sport that you love and you get lost, and then you when you're playing in a smaller venue in a smaller town, that's really all they've got. So you're in the coffee shops, you're local famous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like we would go to the restaurant, and these little kids would know who the Broncos were, and every kid wanted to play for the Broncos. And now in my head, coming from Calgary and everything like that, in a bigger city, you're like, why would you want to play for the Broncos? You can go higher.
Go to the Flames.
Yeah, exactly.
Oilers,
right. But these kids, they want to be the Broncos, and it kind of gives you that confidence that you're playing for a team that people look up to.
So what attracts you to team sports? Because even after your accident, you haven't stopped becoming a team sport guy. So what's the draw?
Yeah, I think I grew up playing team sports. My dad put me into hockey, and creating friendships and getting to experience stuff with other people was what really brought me joy, and getting to have funny moments. I mean, I look back at my hockey career, and the memories that I made weren't like, the games we won or the games we lost. Yes, those are important in some scenarios, but it was like in the locker room and hanging out and the parties, right? Like it was all that stuff that really brought me joy, and that kind of sticks with me. So after everything happened, I knew that by getting back into team sport, I could hopefully recreate some more memories.
Now, after the accident, you rededicated your sports career. So walk me through that process. Walk me through the resiliency of refocusing and focusing on a new sport.
So it kind of started even before the accident. I was continually getting cut from hockey teams. And so my goal was to continue to play hockey and to try to get to the highest level I could. So it was always about moving forward and finding that next open door and opportunity. So after the accident, I thought my next door, my next path moving forward was to get back on the ice and start from there. So 4 months after the accident, I got in a sled on the ice with some friends and family, and just had a blast. I'm like, okay, my new goal now is to try to make the Paralympics. So by getting myself out on the ice, by training, by doing all the things, I actually made my way to the national program within 4 years.
That's fantastic. What's it like with the national program in the Paralympics?
It's exciting. I mean, every player out there is so individually skilled. They all bring something to the table, and being in that environment, I mean, I'll admit it, I wasn't the best player out there, but I had a good time and really learned a lot from these players. I mean, seeing the speed, seeing the physicality, and the knowledge that they bring to the sport is just something incredible. And you get to train with them every day at on the ice, at the gym, wherever you are.
There's something about being Canadian and any version of hockey you play, taking it more seriously than any other country. Talk about the excellence that comes from Hockey Canada and what goes into that at every level.
Yeah, at every level. I mean, it starts, at the lower levels, right? When you're playing stand-up hockey, they expect you to put in the work and hopefully make your way to the top and represent Canada if you're good enough, right? And that's something exciting. We all take pride in it. I mean, we all watch Four Nations Cup, and that win, I think, sparked the country, right? It gave us that boost that we kind of need right now. And in the sled hockey world, specifically for Hockey Canada, they hold you to a high standard. You have to hit compliance with training, ice times, and make sure you're seeing results. Because if you aren't seeing results, you're probably not going to have a spot on the team. So, it was an exciting time with the national program, but eventually I did have to step away and pursue another passion in other sports.
I'm glad you brought up the Four Nations Cup because my mother-in-law and she's finally making the show because I talk about my family every now and then. But my mother-in-law, Doll, was here from England and doesn't understand two things: doesn't understand the Tragically Hip and doesn't understand hockey. And so we're watching the Four Nations Cup. She's like, are they booing the national anthem? I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of what's going on in the world. And then the puck drops, first fight, and my mom's like, they're gonna get kicked out of the game. I'm like, no, they just sit for 5 minutes. And she goes, is this a normal part of the game? I'm like, yeah, it's normal. And then 3 fights in the first 9 seconds, and she's like, what is going on? I'm like, you just don't understand. It was very funny. So yeah, you're right. It gave us that boost is what we needed as a nation, I think, at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the fights. I remember I was with a couple of buddies, and the bar erupted, right?
Yeah.
And the second fight and the third fight, and we just had all this energy. And fortunately, we didn't win that game, but we won the tournament. So
yeah, we won when it mattered. And
yeah.
that's all that matters. That's all I'm going to remember from it. But okay, so stepping away from the national program and focusing on a new sport, it's frustrating to me because I think you're better at this sport than I am, and I've never been very good at basketball. So what's it like?
Yeah, it's a learning curve, right? I mean, I know I can carry my work ethic and mindset carry over to the sport, but it's now learning a new sport, learning how to play, and learning how to catch up to guys that have been playing for 15 more years than you.
Yeah.
So it was a huge adjustment, but I'm learning each and every practice. Every time I get beat, every time someone scores on me, right, I'm learning from those situations. So it's about continually pushing myself forward and learning to not get too frustrated and understanding that it's going to be a marathon.
Now, you have a camera crew following you around now, or is that, tell me about that.
Yeah, so this group, Prairie Cat Productions, was hired by AMI, Accessible Media Incorporated, and it's a TV show about me, kind of following me around from September to the end of April. They're going to be showing 6 different episodes, I believe, on different things that happened in my life. So basketball, training, hockey, just everything and all the above, right? And so I'm excited to see it come out at the end of May. They're going to be following me around till the end of April.
That's fantastic. And where is it going to be aired?
AMI and AMI Plus.
Okay,
it's
excellent.
TV network.
All right, so we'll link back to that once it airs. We'll make sure all of our viewers are able to see it. One thing that strikes me about you, this is our first time formally meeting. We had a bit of a run-in. You don't remember it, but at George Mack a long time ago with Mr. McLean. I believe he had a hockey stick or something like that he was giving you. Your smile and your attitude is infectious. You haven't stopped smiling since you walked in here. You just ooze positivity. How do you do that? Where does that come from?
It's not all the time,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course. Yeah.
but you know, I think there are things you can and can't control in your life. But the thing you can control is being a good person, smiling, making other people feel welcome and comfortable, and try to make them happy. I mean, I've since PBAA, right? I always love to be
Right.
that guy that make people laugh and bring joy to the locker room and make people want to show up and have fun, right? That just brings me joy, and I mean, I get to smile, I get to make people have fun and laugh, and there's no better feeling.
Right. It's just so nice to see that positivity carrying forward. Uh, what does the future hold for you? What's the next steps for you?
There's a couple things. I mean, right now, obviously, with personal career, I want to make the Paralympics for wheelchair basketball or wheelchair racing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll keep training for that. Our charity organization, the Straz Strong Foundation, we're hoping to become more prominent throughout Canada at some point, and hopefully give out as many donations as possible through grants and adaptive sport equipment. And then the other thing as well, I do have a public speaking career, so I'm trying to travel more worldwide. That would be a goal of mine, to share my story around the world and to dive into the world of accessible innovation. I mean, there's so many different things that aren't accessible that we're trying to make accessible. So as an example, we're trying to build a truck that is wheelchair friendly for everyone, to allow them to go off-roading and go camping, to allow others to find a next open door.
Stuff that some people take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about accessibility, right? Because I've always taken for granted that the world is made for me, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've never had to worry about anything like that yet, and God willing, for a little bit longer in the future. Talk to me about accessibility and how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think about it either until I went downtown Calgary, as an example, a very old city, right? And there are some businesses and some restaurants that I can't even get into. I have to have friends lift me upstairs, and you go in and there's all high tables, you know, there's no accessible washroom, and so you're making do. And unfortunately, I'm having to adapt to the environment, and I can only imagine what it's like for other people as well. So having this accessibility lens and trying to promote the message of accessibility more frequently. I mean, it's better now than it was before.
Right.
I'm trying to promote the idea of accessibility for everyone. So the idea of universal design is maybe unobtainable as of right now, but at least we can take one step in the right direction to allow everyone to access any facility.
I've always felt that true accessibility and true inclusion comes from the very beginning of a project. So I know when we were looking at the field turf project for Ed Edgar, one of the things we were looking at was how to make sure it was accessible for everybody, and making sure there was ramps in the right spot and places like that all throughout. Do you feel like we've made enough progress in the planning stages on a civic level now? Like, not the old buildings, but going forward, do you think it's at forefront, or would you like to see more municipalities and more cities actually embrace that at the beginning?
I think, like you said, at the beginning stages is important. It's better now than it was before. But when I think of accessibility as well, it's not just mobility impairments. It's visual, auditory,
Right.
neurological. There's all sorts of different disabilities, which again we're trying to find what best suits everyone. We want to be able to go into a building that has the right functions, the right facilities that everyone can access, and nobody kind of looks at it and thinks, oh, that's for someone in a wheelchair. You know,
Yeah.
the idea of universal design is that it's already integrated so that anyone can access it without having it kind of stand out and be prominent throughout the rest of the architecture.
Right. So it's just organically part of the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Talk to me about the house you're living in.
right now I'm living over in Winsong with my parents. They made the entire house wheelchair accessible minus the top floor. So I
Right.
can access the main floor, the garage, and my basement kind of living area through the elevator in the garage. It was designed to be wheelchair accessible. It took about 9 months where me and my family were living in a hotel in Airdrie. And, we finally moved in, and the rest is history.
So when it comes to new homes and basic living quarters, is there anybody right now working with people with accessibility needs to make homes more accessible? Is there any like home builders that are forefront that are doing a good job?
Home builders, maybe not, but I know there's a couple companies that work on accessibility altogether. There's a group called Level Playing Field,
Yeah.
and they make everything accessible. So they're actually working on the new dome project in Calgary. And I know the lady there that runs it, Darby, and she kind of gave me the blueprints to how to make something accessible. So I have this like cheat sheet on my phone that I sent to my contractor. I was like, hey, follow this. If you have any questions, let me know to make it accessible.
Excellent. One thing that's really near and dear to my heart is youth sports and accessibility when it comes to making sure everybody has access to it. So, how do you feel we are in Canada now, and what steps do you think we need to take forward?
It's a lot better. Like I said, we're better now than we were before, but the idea of getting accessible equipment is super hard. I mean, for example, if I want to go play basketball now, I'm going to need a sport chair, which is thousands of dollars. I'm going to need to find an accessible court that I can access. And if my ball goes onto grass, it's going to be a lot harder to get than just walking to go get it, right? So there's so many different barriers that people might face, but the biggest one is those financial barriers to allow people to get into adaptive sports, especially kids. I met a lot of kids through sled hockey that had to borrow used equipment and borrow all these different sorts of things, and that kind of breaks you down, right? I mean, as a kid, I got granted the opportunity. I was fortunate enough to have all the equipment to play sports and learn the lessons that I did. And for the financial barriers to stop these kids from playing sport is what really drove me to try and start the Straz Strong Foundation.
Now, and let's talk about the foundation. So that was created to meet that need.
Exactly, yeah.
So how are you accomplishing that?
We're trying to raise as much money as we can. Right now, we do have an annual golf tournament that's actually happening August 15th this year at Lakeside in Chestermere. The link will be on StrazStrongFoundation.com. But we try to raise money a few times throughout the year, try to tackle grants, try to bring as much funds as we can and awareness in so that we can distribute as much funds as possible to buy sport equipment for individuals or programs that might need it. But the coolest thing that we're doing right now is actually documenting the process. So we're hiring a documentary crew to film where these donations are going. So we just did last September, a kid named Avon broke his neck mountain biking in an accident. And his goal was to get back into a mountain bike. So we ended up buying him an adaptive mountain bike, went all the way to Whistler, documented the whole thing. It's on our website now on YouTube. And just the smile on his face. He was out there with his mom. They're mountain biking again. We were out there with them. And just to see the smile on his face, the impact that the Straz Strong Foundation can have is what really drives us to try to get more funds and disperse as much as possible.
That's a really unique way of promoting the foundation, because I think when people see the sightline to I donate money to the output and to the impact it makes, it's so much more impactful. And to see that train, that's excellent. What's next for the foundation? Like, do you see support from, is it national support? Is it more local support? Where are we seeing the money coming in from?
Yeah, we're hopefully, going to tackle those grants, national grants or local grants. We talked to the Calgary Foundation. We're trying to work with as many other charities as possible to sort of amalgamate funds to disperse more than we're able to right now. Again, it's a learning curve. I never went to school to learn how to run a charity, so I'm learning by making a lot of mistakes, but asking the right questions, bringing on the right people, and working together towards a better tomorrow.
Has technology helped? Like, what's the latest tech doing in the world of adaptive sports and adaptive environments?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to make as many new sports as possible. I mean, for example, a sports chair for basketball, they might try to make it lighter, more custom. There's adaptive mountain bikes that allow everyone to get back on the trails and just wheel around. There's so many different sports that haven't come out yet, but are coming out and have been around, that we're always trying to upgrade and make things better for everyone. So it's an improvement, and I think we have a lot of people in this world of the accessible world that are engineers and that have a passion for this, that are always designing the next best thing.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really inspiring way to look at it. Is you're really changing the world here.
Trying to, yeah, one step at a time.
What's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to grow the charity, trying to work on the public speaking career, trying to make the Paralympics. You name it, I'm probably trying it. I'm trying to do as many things as possible.
Now, I ask a lot. When we have musicians, when we have athletes, when we have members of the community that are doing great things, I ask for advice, right? For our listeners, what advice do you have for somebody who's A, going through something that probably they didn't choose, or B, looking to make a difference out there?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I that kind of has stuck with me my whole life was a quote that my dad told me, that when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a way of thinking, right? Whenever I got cut from hockey teams or whenever the accident happened, it was always about continuing to push forward and find the next open door. And that, the only way you fail at life is when you give up. And so the biggest thing for me was to obviously never give up, but continue to push forward, continue to work hard, continue to try to make the people around you better while making yourself better at the same time. So it's always about moving forward.
Wow, that's really great advice. This has been absolutely inspirational. I've had a great day filming, some fantastic guests. You are a great person to top this off of. And my cup is pretty full today.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, this is an honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on Airdrie Inside, and thank you for listening to Airdrie Inside. We're going to be back with more great episodes soon.